According to the Pew Research Center, 69% of adults and 81% of teens use social media every day. Now, of course, the question is if there are significant risks to the overuse of social media, then that means that it affects most and the majority of Americans today. So the question always becomes, does the population at large know and understand the risks that are associated with high social media usage? And how far do those risks go? So I would say that the overuse of social media poses significant risk both to mental health for adults and for teenagers. Now, studies on this subject are common and all of them point to the same issues. Number one, social media steals our time with algorithms that are designed to keep us there. Number two, social media can affect the mental health of adults negatively when it comes to our sleep, our depression, and our anxiety. And number three, and maybe even the most important, social media strongly affects the mental health of our teens today. Number one, social media steals our time. The reality is that algorithms are designed to keep us in these apps. On average, Americans spend an average of 2 hours and 14 minutes per day on social media. If we were to take this average at the end of the year, Americans spend over 1 month of social media time, or 33.96 days in total. One of the more popular topics in regards to social media is the aspect of doom scrolling. This is where mindlessly we keep scrolling on whatever application that we are on. But algorithms, which are learning machines, they learn our habits, they learn what we like, what we spend the most time on, and then they present more material related to that subject. While this may not seem initially like a bad thing, when we pair this with the function of the brain, its addictive nature becomes apparent. McLean General Hospital posted an article describing that social media has a reinforcing behavior. This means that receiving a notification or finding a video that you like actually activates the brain's reward center, releasing dopamine or the feel-good chemical into our body. This constant system of engagement on a social media site is showing us what we want to see, and our brain is giving us this reward. It keeps us in the loop, stealing our time away from our friends and our family. See, but it's not just our time, it's also our health that is affected. Social media can affect the mental health of adults, and it affects our sleep, our depression, and our anxiety. In 2018, a British study tied social media use to decreased, disrupted, and delayed sleep. The effects of blue light alone can disrupt sleep, which is emitted by any of our screens, phones, TVs, or even computers. But the addictive nature for us to get into our beds after a long day, open our phones, and the next thing you know, we're scrolling for hours on end before ever getting an hour of sleep. So when our sleep is disrupted, of course, it is going to affect our lives. Furthermore, a study was conducted from May 2020 to May 2021. In this study, Dr. Roy Perlis, who is the professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School in Massachusetts General Hospital, reports that people who were using Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat were substantially more likely to come back and report at the next survey they were feeling depressed. For many people, only posting social media is what looks best to them, puts them and their family in the best light. But this causes anxiety and a critical self-reflection that becomes naturally upset when something doesn't come out just right. And the opposite of the effect is true as well. On Instagram or Facebook, you might see someone you went to high school with or knew, and it just seems like their entire life is put together. But for you, you're struggling and just getting through the day. So this comparison and this contrasting of our lives to those around us is harmful. And it's no wonder social media leads to anxiety and depression. Now, possibly I mentioned the greatest threat when it comes to social media isn't in regards to our time or into our effects as adults, but rather into our effects of our youth today. High social media usage can greatly increase teens' depression and anxiety all the way to point where it's increasing the risk of self-harm. One law center reported that in 2020, suicide was the second leading cause of death among children and young adults ages 10 to 24. Just as social media usage has increased in the last 20 years, so has the percentage of teen suicide. One BYU study discovered that teenage girls who spend 2 to 3 hours daily on social media at the age of 13 are at a higher risk of suicide. A Yale medicine study actually goes further than this BYU study, saying that teens aged 12 to 15 with social media upwards to 3 hours a day face twice the risk of depression and anxiety symptoms. When it comes to teens self-reporting low mental health or suicidal intentions, teens with high social media usage, their numbers double that of those with a lower social media usage. Most social media platforms set their age limits to 13. The U.S. Surgeon General actually tweeted out on a social media platform that based off the data that he was seeing, 13 is still too young. Social media, just as with parents being present in life as fit as possible, happiest as possible, or as wealthiest as possible, this gives both adults and teens, the impressionable teens of our youth, that life could be better than what they currently see it as. And the evidence becomes clear that social media is a dangerous pastime for most of the world and most of America. This pastime needs to be monitored, guarded, or even avoided for the sake of the health of ourselves and for the health of our youth. Social media begs and robs us of our time. It begs and robs us of our brains, and it of course increases the danger of self-harm for our youth. Social media poses significant risk to our mental health, and it should be considered before any further usage. These studies are only becoming more and more popular, and each year these studies are pointing to the same reality. It is dangerous, and it must be monitored. It requires guarding like any activity that begs our attention. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to edit
I'm just gonna cut it that out.